Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As we're sort of sitting here along the event horizon where it's looking like we're seeing the emergency decree coming to an end here in Thailand, I was recently reading an article from the Bangkok Post. It's bangkokpost.com. Article is titled Chad Chart, Bangkok Reconsidering Mask Rules. Quoting directly, mask requirements in Bangkok may be reconsidered following the government's decision to revoke the emergency decree on COVID-19, according to City Governor Chadchat Sitipont. Speaking during a visit to Pom Prap Satrai district on Saturday, he said the capital's administration would address control of the coronavirus using the Communicable Disease Act now that the emergency decree is to be ended and the National Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration, CCSA, is to be dissolved on October 1. My response to that is, using the Communicable Disease Act, how? We've done the analysis on this. I did the analysis, I don't know, what was it, a year ago? Something like this, 18 months ago? At the time when they were using the emergency decree, and they didn't have the codified authority to impose a mask mandate then. How do they propose they have any codified authority to impose a mask mandate after the emergency decree ends? I never agreed with the logic that we can do it because we have an emergency decree. I never really bought into that line of logic because there wasn't any logic there, at least none that I could see under the type of legal reasoning that I'm used to dealing with. And yes, I understand civil law is different, and so I come at this as an outside observer. I'm kind of a comparative law kind of person when it comes to this, but this mask mandate never codified. And codification is the basis of the civil law. You've got to put it in writing somewhere. And it's not. It's just not in there. You can't interpret it in. Even under an emergency decree. I didn't agree with it then, as I was very vocal about. So continuing to talk about this, A, I don't see the point. B, haven't we gotten to the point where we do understand that this mask mandating largely is not effective? I mean, based on the data that I have read, and I'm happy to stand corrected. If people have peer-reviewed studies of this, please put it up in the comments. I'll happily look at it. But based on what I have read and based on what I have seen, it's my understanding that at best it's like a net neutral, and in many ways it may actually be a detriment in certain ways. Again, I'm no expert on this whole thing from a medical standpoint, but it's my understanding that it has not been this great benefit in terms of a public health measure. Meanwhile, to just say, oh, we're going to use the Communicable Disease Act, well, how? It's not in there. It never was. And again, I'll put up the link in the description below to the analysis. That thing was like 30 or 45 minutes long where we went through line by line the actual act. It's not codified. It's not there. You know, I mean, even from an interpretive standpoint, I don't get what they're interpreting in, because it says that they can prohibit certain things. They can't compel, which is what this is, unless you're saying, well, we're prohibiting breathing, which that to me is ludicrous on a whole different level. So again, not to get too excited about this, but I think the question should be posed, you know, at what point is this going to end? You know, the emergency decree is over. Clearly, it's not an emergency anymore because the emergency decree is ended. So why would we even consider continuing with all this stuff?